Hello, I'm Austin Heyman. Welcome to Seniors Today, a monthly program produced by the Commission on Aging and devoted entirely to issues and interests of Montgomery County seniors. This month we learn about an independent state agency that regulates Maryland's insurance industry and protects consumers. And we visit with an old friend of the show, former Washington Post columnist and author Bob Levy. But first, I'm very pleased to welcome Roger Berliner, the Montgomery County Council President, to Seniors Today. Well, welcome, Roger. Nice to have you, and congratulations.
Thank you, Austin, and it's always nice to be with you.
Well, we're in the midst of a big year. What are the council priorities this year?
Well, I'm reminded of what a political sage once said to President Clinton: it's the economy, stupid. So at this moment in time, it is so important for our county to be poised to come out of this recession and to do right by our residents. So we're trying to find ways where we can help small businesses, where we can grow our economy, where we can grow our tax base, so we can do all the things we need to do for our people in times like this.
Are there any particular issues this year you see? Of course, the economy impacts everybody, including seniors, but
yes.
Are there any particular issues that you see?
Well, there are a number of defining issues for our county. I just announced that we're going to have a series of briefings on shaping the future, adapting to change, because the demographics in our county are changing so significantly and our needs are changing. Some of the demographics that are changing are seniors, are becoming so much more a critical part of our community, and providing for seniors is so much more important part
of diversity, of course.
And the diversity and the huge diversity. But transportation and transit are going to be huge issues for our county. They've been huge issues for our county, and I'm hoping this year we'll make some significant progress to having the best transit system in the country.
Well, that is a big issue, and for seniors, it's always identified. Transportation and I guess housing probably are the two things that come up when we have surveys, when the villages talk about what are their priorities, as you know,
yes.
from the villages around the county that you represented particularly. On transportation, of course, the whole county is concerned about congestion, but for seniors, one of the issues is getting from door to door, particularly if you don't drive.
Yes. And so it is going to be a priority of mine and our council to see what advances can we do. We know that other counties have programs for door-to-door service, and so I've had conversations with Council Member Hans Reamer, who serves on our Transportation Committee and who came from AARP, and said this is a perfect issue for you to lead our council on trying to figure out how can we make sure that our seniors get out of their homes in ways that they can enjoy all the benefits of our county, which we are fortunate to have.
And you actually chair the transportation. It's got a long name.
Yeah, it does indeed. Transportation, infrastructure, energy, and environment. So
wow,
yes,
that's
it's a lot.
Well, of course, energy is a field that you are an expert in, and you've worked on for many years.
Yes, so the PEPCO issue
has been a big issue.
It's been a big issue for our county and for our residents, and for
well,
seniors.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well. We never know when the next snow and
exactly.
I mean, I know they've been hard at work to try to ameliorate some of the issues, and let's hope that we have a better winter than we had last year.
Yes.
These forums that you're talking about, they're going to be scheduled over the next couple of months.
Yes. Yes, and so we're going to devoted one whole forum to senior sets of issues, in which we'll bring an expert in from around the country that can talk to us about what are the state-of-the-art programs, what are the best practices around the country, so that we can make sure that we're doing the things we need to do. The county executive, as you know, had launched a great senior forum, and what we want to do is see if we can take that forward to the next step, to have a real senior agenda, which I know you're working on, and see what pieces can we implement. Because
yes, the commission has drafted a senior agenda.
Yes, yes.
Before you got involved in all of this work on the council, you had a whole career. I don't know that everybody's familiar with it. I know you're a lawyer. You were a lawyer on energy issues.
On utility issues, I represented the County of Los Angeles against larger utilities, and so.
And before that, you were involved on the Hill, both the Senate side and the House side.
Yes, I had wonderful opportunities to work on the House side. I worked for Chairman Henry Waxman for a bit. I was Senator Howard Metzenbaum's legislative director, and that was a thrill because Senator Howard Metzenbaum woke up every day and he said, "What do you got for me? What are we going to do?" He loved being a senator, so it was great to be a legislative director for him.
It was a different time, I suspect, from the current. Did you see more collaboration between the?
You did, actually. There were real giants then, if you will, in the Senate, and there was a collegiality. There was a sense of being able to get things done, of having real hearings, of thinking together, and of trying to find common ground. So it is very disheartening to see the state of play today.
But in our world, in the council world, of course, it's also a challenge to. You have, what is it, nine?
There are 9 of us, yes.
And you have to find common ground there too.
You do that. 9 of us, and we each have our own personalities, each have our own priorities, and so it is a bit of a challenge, even though we generally share the same set of values.
Well, you have a full plate, and I'm very glad that you were able to come in and talk a little bit this morning about the issues facing the council, and I wish you well in the year to come.
Well, let me just say, Austin, I'm so grateful for all your contributions to our county and to the Commission on Aging.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
When we come back, we'll learn about a state organization protecting and educating consumers about insurance companies and health plans. So please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Have you ever parked illegally in a reserved, accessible parking space?
And thought, what's the harm? I'm only going to be a minute.
We know how important it is to have reserved parking.
And the adjacent striped access aisles provide necessary space needed for assistance devices like my wheelchair and my service dog.
Respect the need for reserved parking and the laws that govern its use.
On behalf of everyone with accessible plates and placards,
We are asking you
to respect the space.
Packers. Viking. Packers. Viking. Packers. Viking.
Red state, blue state, vegan.
Carnivore.
We come from different places.
Uptown. Downtown.
Optimist.
We come to different conclusions.
Half empty.
Half full.
But when we live united, we create real, lasting change in the building blocks of life. The education, income, and health of our communities,
Live.
our families,
United.
even the person next to us.
Live united.
Real change won't happen without you. So give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Sign up at liveunited.org.
Welcome back to Seniors Today. The Maryland Insurance Administration is an independent state agency that regulates Maryland's insurance industry. And one of its primary goals is to help state residents understand, compare, and become better informed consumers. Joining me to tell us more is Joy Hatchett, the Associate Commissioner in charge of the Consumer Education and Advocacy section. Well, welcome to Seniors Today, Joy.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're in Baltimore.
Yes, I am.
And you have a big job.
And we're responsible really for the entire state of Maryland, so that's why I'm here joining you today.
So what is the role of the department?
I really tell people, think of us as the Better Business Bureau for insurance. We're there to help people if they have problems or questions about insurance, all types of insurance, your auto, your homeowners, your life, your health, any type of issue or problem you have with an insurance company or the people that sell you insurance. We're there to help you understand those questions and then help you through the claims process, and we do it for free.
So if I have a question about the policy that I have, I can call you up and...
Absolutely. We have a staff of trained individuals that are there to answer your questions. And let me give you a perfect example. Let's say you're involved in an automobile accident and you're unhappy with the way the insurance company has handled your claim. We can help you, first of all, understand the procedure, understand what your rights are, and what you can do to get that claim handled properly. And then we'll also investigate the insurance company's actions to make sure they've done everything that they're required to do under the laws.
It sounds like a wonderful service. You must be, you have a large staff to do?
No, not with these type of budgetary constraints. I mean, we just heard the councilman speak about that. We're experiencing that in the state as well. And so we don't have a large staff, but our insurance commissioner is dedicated to doing whatever it takes to help consumers.
So you also go out and speak to groups. What kind of questions do you get when you?
All types of questions. One of the frequent questions, I mean, if there happens to have been an event, let's say we just had a few months ago Hurricane Irene, and there was a disaster and people had homeowners insurance questions. People will ask us about that. Senior groups come and they ask us about what can be done to prevent or help protect us against insurance fraud. And that's a primary concern for seniors because with limited income, they're frequently approached by individuals trying to sell them products, and they want to make sure that how they're spending their money is appropriate. So we frequently get asked questions about that.
What happens if you discover like a scam? Do you get involved with the Attorney General's office, for example? Or
we will refer, but unlike the Attorney General's office, we actually are the ones that license individuals to sell insurance. So if we see a person that's selling an insurance product that's defrauding a consumer and there's actual clear evidence of fraud, we will take that insurance producer's license. So we have teeth. One of the things that we can do is we can order an insurance company to pay a claim. We can fine the insurance company, but we can also take an insurance agent's license that has defrauded a senior.
So if I have a claim for, suppose I have an automobile accident and I want to file a claim and I'm not satisfied with the way the insurance company is handling it, then I could call you and...
Absolutely. And what we'll do first is we'll talk you through the process. We have something called a rapid response program. And the folks with the rapid response program will try to get that claim resolved very quickly. But if they can't, then there's a formal complaint process which we will walk you through and help you through to make sure that what's been done by the insurance company has been done properly.
Now, long-term care insurance is something that people are preoccupied about at this point in time. That's something that's sort of evolved over the last 15 years or 20 years. Have there been issues around long-term care insurance?
Well, what I try to do when I go out and talk to individuals is really tell people, no matter what their age, everyone needs to be concerned about long-term care planning, making sure that they have a way to pay for their long-term care needs. Now, long-term care insurance is one way, but that can be expensive. So what you need to make sure of is that you have enough money not just to pay for it right now, but to pay for it in the future. Because long-term care insurance rates do increase, because one of the things they consider is the cost of health care services. And as those services go up, the rate of long-term care insurance will go up. So there are lots of things that you should think about, but long-term care insurance is one option.
Now, we need to give a phone number for people to contact you. What is your phone number?
1-800-492-6116.
And you also have a website, a wonderful website.
Yes, we do, with lots of publications. We have publications on just about every type of insurance, and that website is www.mdinsurance.state.md.us. I know it's a little long, but there's lots of publications there to help people.
I looked at your website. It's extremely impressive. You not only have Maryland publications, but you also have referrals to federal publications. So it's a very rich resource. Now, you mentioned that you do some presentations. Do you do these in Montgomery County too?
I do them all over the state. So if any organization wants to get in touch with my office, use that 1-800 number, give us a call. We go out, we speak with church groups, we speak with different community groups, and really get into detail about all the services that we offer.
Well, that's terrific. I'm sure you speak at the senior centers from time to time.
Absolutely.
And maybe the libraries, too.
We actually send representatives to the libraries so that people can come in with their individual questions. And if they go to our website, there's a calendar which will tell you which libraries we're going to be at.
One piece of insurance that a lot of seniors have is travel insurance. Do you get other issues around travel?
We do, and what's important with any type of policy is understand what that policy covers and what it doesn't cover. Because you have to be very careful with travel insurance because the different companies cover certain circumstances. And so just because you have travel insurance, if that event that would gear the payment of the claim doesn't occur, then you're not going to be able to have a claim, a valid claim under your travel insurance policy.
Well, you certainly have a wide portfolio there. Thank you so much for coming in to tell us about it, and we'll look at, again, that website is terrific.
Thank you for inviting me.
When we return, we'll conclude today's show with a conversation with a former Washington Post columnist, familiar to everyone. So please stay with us. We'll be right back.
I want to go swimming. I want to go to camp.
Fitness classes for me.
I want to play softball.
Make everyone in your family happy. Call the Montgomery County Department of Recreation at 240-777-6800. Your recreation destination.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
Welcome back to Seniors Today. For 3 decades, my next guest was a journalist with the Washington Post. He has been awarded a number of honors, including being named Washingtonian of the Year by Washingtonian Magazine, and being named one of the top columnists in the United States by the Washington Journalism Review. I'm very pleased to welcome Bob Levy to the studio.
Good to be here. Thank you, Austin. Good to see you.
Nice to have you back. 3,000 columns?
Oh no, 5,411.
Oh my God.
That's a figure that I just happened to recall, and I'm still alive.
And you're still writing columns now for the
columns.
Beacon papers,
That's right.
which we enjoy very much. And then there's 7 radio stations and 4 TV stations?
No, we're up to 9 radio stations and 4 TV stations. I guess we've got to get you a more updated version of my bio.
Wow.
Yeah, and who knows, there could be more of either.
So how did you get started in all of this?
I love journalism because I had the good fortune to grow up in New York City on the subway.
Me too.
Yeah, and as you know then, riding the subway when I was a boy and when you were a boy was a cavalcade of newspapers that people would leave behind on the seats.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah.
The price was right, and I would travel on the subway and would pick up the Daily News, or the New York Mirror of blessed memory, the New York Times, the New York Post, and I fell in love with journalism, and I've never fallen out.
That's terrific. So when you left the Post, did you have a plan in mind?
I did have a plan in mind. I wanted to spend the rest of my career making the Washington area a better place. And I hope I have done that. I worked for quite a while as a senior vice president at Washington Hospital Center raising money.
Wow.
I've since been a teacher and a consultant and a lot of things, and as you mentioned, a columnist still.
Oh, that's terrific. And in between all of this, you are reported to be a master bridge player?
I am a life master. I am a national champion bridge player.
Wow.
And I am here to tell you and your audience that you may think that you know what the 7 basic food groups are. Wrong. There are 8. Bridge is the 8th basic food group. And the more bridge you consume, the better you are.
And then it says you're also a semi-professional folk singer?
Yeah, my earliest career in college was singing in clubs in Chicago. You know, those bare brick wall places with the open mic night on Wednesdays, and I would sit on a stool and sing ballads that I had written.
So you're a man for all seasons.
I hope so.
Now, recently you've been writing some columns I read in the Beacon. And one was interesting about reunions,
yes.
Your own reunion,
yes.
And other people's reunions, of course. I've gone to a number of reunions, and sometimes I sort of am apprehensive. Will there be anybody who shows up? You had a very was it a high school reunion?
It was a high school reunion.
And that was a positive thing for you.
It was, and I like reunions. I like reunions for many reasons, but mainly because I have found that you can restart a relationship with somebody whom you barely knew in high school or college, and who 50, 60 years later is more interesting than he or she was then.
And the internet helps, I guess, too.
The internet is essential.
When you go out to groups, and I know you do speaking and so on, what kinds of questions do you get from seniors?
I hear from seniors about the intergenerational issues of values, and that can center around journalism, of course. A lot of senior citizens love to say that they just can't start the day without an ink-on-paper newspaper.
Yeah, right.
And of course, the generations below us, Austin, don't feel that way.
Right.
And the farther down you go, the less they feel that way. My own children, who would never have had a meal if it were not for the newspaper business, don't read newspapers.
Oh, wow. So, that must upset you.
Not really. You know, you can't hold back progress like this. You can't hold back change.
Right.
But what I hear from when I go out to speak is whether this is making us a less safe and less good country. And I think in a way that is correct, because when we have media that don't go as deeply into stories as they once did.
Investigative journalism.
Yeah, investigative journalism, foreign correspondence, specialized feature writing, everything that costs money in journalism is drifting away. And I think the people who suffer from that are the people whose ages begin with a 1, a 2, and a 3. Anyway, I hear that. I hear a lot about transportation, and I hear a lot about medical care, and about whether older Americans here and elsewhere are going to be forced into a system of medical care which won't really help them.
On the transportation issue, we were just talking about that with Council Member Berliner, and what kinds of issues do you see? The congestion in the if it's in the Washington area.
It isn't just that. With older Americans, especially in Montgomery County, the issue of when to give up driving and what to do instead.
Right, it's a real issue.
It's a real issue, particularly for people above 75.
Right.
Public transportation is excellent in this county, but it's not excellent for everybody.
Right.
We have kind of a spread out county once you get beyond the Beltway, and it's hard if you don't drive.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things that I know the Commission has been focusing on. The issue of door-to-door transportation is a real one.
That's right.
We have some things in place, but not enough.
That's right.
It needs work. And you've also written a little bit about scams. You had one column, which is a troubling issue for seniors.
You know, it has always been with us. The older people get, the more vulnerable they get. I don't think that's any question. There's any question about that in not only in the business realm, but in every other realm. But the column that I did was about an 88-year-old man who went into a car dealership, and they basically looked at him like chum. He was a fair game, and they played him out of thousands of dollars, and I just got outraged by this, because as much as you wouldn't think that would happen, as much as you think that all of us get better and better and better as consumers the older we get because we're more sophisticated, more experienced, it doesn't happen that way.
Well, I know that we had the state's attorney's office on an earlier show some months ago, and there's a whole issue about fraud and scams, and then we also have the Office of Consumer Protection here in the county, and it is no question about it. It's a real issue. You've also done a book with your wife on Washington.
Yes, indeed.
200 pages, I believe. It's
more than that.
More than that, yeah. And how did you come to do that?
Washington Post Books asked us to do this book in 2000 on the 200th anniversary of Washington's being chosen the capital of the country. And we looked at each other and we said, you know, we're not going to be here for the 300th anniversary. We really better do this. And somehow both we and our marriage survived doing a book together. This can be very, very touchy.
Yeah, well, Jimmy Carter, did you know the story with him?
Yes, I do.
Rosalind?
Yes, I do.
They had to put their initials for each paragraph. Did you do that?
No, but at the time we had 2 teenage children. At the time we had 5 jobs between the 2 of us, and we decided to do this book. And I think the only thing that it reminded me of was when your children are just born and you say, I am so tired, I am never going to be this tired again, I can't wait for it to be over. And so
it was that bad.
It was that bad. It's a big project,
yeah,
and once it was over, it really was a little like when your child begins to talk and walk. You say, have a nice ride.
Right. So you're actually going to talk about this book with your wife.
Jane and I will be appearing
it's April
19 at the Friends of Montgomery County Library, and we'll be talking about our book, Washington Alma.
I think it's a Strathmore, isn't it?
That's right.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you.
People can go to that. Well, let's talk a little about Washington since you've written about it. So how do you see that, I mean, over the last several decades, the change that's taken place?
This has become a much more sophisticated place, a much more diverse community, and a community which works for every age group, which was not true when I first came here 45 years ago. I think this is an excellent place for senior citizens now, largely because they can age in place and because of the cultural attractions here.
Yeah, the Cultural Revolution has been amazing.
Yeah, but it was always there, Austin, because the museums have always been free.
The museums have always been there, but the
now
music and the theater has really changed.
Now we have 80 legitimate theaters in the Washington metropolitan area. We, you know, it used to be DAR Constitution Hall. That was it for music, and now we have all kinds of music. But what I see in the metropolitan area is a continuing problem with the single biggest political issue in our community, and that is voting rights for the District of Columbia.
Right.
We run the risk of being a metropolitan area of more than 5 million people, which is not solid at the core. And until this is solved, we will never be the metropolitan area we should be.
The architecture of Washington is also changing. I mean, I noticed going downtown that, I mean, you got all the new buildings, but you also have some restored old buildings.
Well, you do, and you also have rebirth in areas where nobody had ever won an architectural prize.
Right.
K Street, for example, looks as if it was designed by somebody from the Soviet Union from 1940. These boxy, windowless, squared off buildings all along K Street. It was never attractive, and I worked near there for a long time. Now you have green buildings, you have light, you have non-reliance on underground parking. It's architecturally, even our workspaces are coming along.
The population also is changed. I mean, there's a tremendous diversity. Well, we talk about that in the county, but I mean, the whole area has become very diverse.
It has, and I think too that there are going to be transportation consequences for all of that. The greatest single motivating force in our community is rush hour traffic. You know, there really are people, not only in Montgomery County, but everywhere, who won't even pop out of their doors until 10 o'clock in the morning.
Well, of course, telecommuting is also a new phenomenon.
Let's see more of it.
Yeah.
Let's see more of it.
You probably can regulate your life a little bit better that way.
Oh, absolutely. The computer is my lifeline, and I can work at any time, day or night, and I do.
Yeah. I think that's going to be much more common.
Oh, yes.
Well, we're delighted that you could come back and talk with us.
Thank you.
April the 19th, we can come and talk with you again.
Yes,
and
indeed.
your wife.
I'll be there. She'll be there.
Strathmore Hall.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Don't forget that you can access a great deal of information about county services for seniors by going to the Montgomery County Senior website at www.montgomerycountymd.gov/seniors, or call the Senior Resource Line at 240-777-3000. And as always, thank you for watching Seniors Today.